The Krelathi throne room had fallen silent, except for the rhythmic pounding on the reinforced doors. Queen Zirath stood perfectly still, her crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the emergency lights in fractured patterns across the walls. Her royal guards had fled 3 minutes ago when the coup forces breached the outer palace. All except one. John Mitchell checked his plasma rifle's charge indicator, 32%. Not ideal, but he'd worked with worse odds during the Titan mining riots. He glanced at Elsa Chen, who was frantically rewiring the door's locking mechanism with tools scavenged from a maintenance panel. 2 minutes, Elsa said, not looking up. Her fingers moved with practiced precision, stripping wires and reconnecting circuits. Maybe 3 if they're stupid about it. They're not stupid, John replied, taking position behind an overturned ceremonial table. That's why we're in this mess. Queen Zirath's mandibles clicked, the Krelathi equivalent of a bitter laugh. You two should leave. You owe me nothing. This is not your world, not your war. John didn't move from his position. With respect, Your Majesty, we've had this conversation already. I'm not going anywhere. The story of how 2 humans ended up as the last defense of an alien queen was absurdly simple. John and Elsa were maintenance contractors, hired to upgrade the palace's environmental systems. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong day for a military coup. When the shooting started, everyone ran. Guards, nobles, servants. Everyone except the 2 humans who'd been trapped in the throne room during a routine inspection, and they'd decided to stay. Elsa finished her work and grabbed her own weapon, a security officer's sidearm she'd picked up from the floor. John, you remember the Prometheus Station siege? Different situation entirely. Maybe, but we held that refinery against 30 pirates for 6 hours with nothing but mining equipment and sheer stubbornness. There were 5 of us then. True, Elsa smiled grimly, but we're better shots now. The pounding stopped. An eerie silence descended. Here it comes, John whispered. The doors exploded inward with a controlled charge. Smoke billowed into the throne room, and through it came the silhouettes of Krelathi soldiers in combat armor. General Thaxos's elite units, traitors to the crown. John fired first, his plasma bolts illuminating the smoke in brilliant blue flashes. 2 soldiers dropped immediately. Elsa's shots were more calculated, aimed at weak points in the armor she'd studied during her contract work. The humans had one advantage. They'd spent weeks crawling through the palace's infrastructure and knew every vulnerability in its design. The attackers scattered, taking cover. They'd expected a barricade, perhaps desperate royalists making a final stand. They hadn't expected precision fire from entrenched positions. Humans, a voice crackled through a translator. General Thaxos himself. You interfere in matters beyond your comprehension. Surrender the queen, and you may leave with your lives. Counteroffer, John shouted back, dropping a wounded soldier who'd tried to flank them. You leave, and we don't tell the rest of the galaxy that a dozen of your elite troops couldn't handle 2 maintenance workers. Elsa was already moving, using the smoke as cover. She'd spotted something, a ventilation shaft, partially concealed behind a decorative tapestry. She caught John's eye and made a quick hand signal. John nodded imperceptibly. The assault came in a coordinated rush, 6 soldiers at once, trying to overwhelm them with numbers. John laid down, suppressing fire, his rifle overheating from the sustained barrage. The attackers fell back, but not before one landed a glancing shot that scorched John's shoulder. He gritted his teeth and kept firing. Elsa had reached the ventilation shaft. Your Majesty, she called, we're leaving, now. Queen Zirath hesitated. I am not accustomed to retreat. Good thing you're not retreating, John said, falling back to cover Elsa. You're making a tactical withdrawal. Big difference. The Queen's mandibles clicked again, this time with something like amusement, and she moved with surprising speed toward the shaft. Her crystalline form, while regal, was more flexible than it appeared. Elsa went first, dropping into the maintenance tunnel below. Queen Zirath followed, her movements graceful despite the undignified escape route. John fired his last 3 shots and dove in after them, sealing the shaft entrance with an emergency lockdown command Elsa had taught him. They found themselves in the palace's circulatory system, a network of tunnels that humans had mapped during installation work, but that most Krelathi barely knew existed. In the narrow passages, a full military assault was impossible. "Where does this lead?" the Queen asked, her regal composure intact despite the circumstances. "Service exit 47, Elsa said, leading the way with a handheld light. "Opens into the lower city. From there we can reach the human embassy district." "You planned this?" "We planned for contingencies," John corrected, bringing up the rear. "Elsa's paranoid about having multiple exit strategies. It's saved us before." They moved through the darkness, the sounds of the coup growing distant above them. The Queen was silent for a long moment before speaking. "Why? You could have fled. No one would have condemned you." John and Elsa exchanged a look. Finally, Elsa answered. "Your Majesty, humans have a saying, 'Not on my watch.' When we see something wrong happening right in front of us, something we can stop, we don't really know how to walk away. It's probably a survival trait, or maybe a flaw. We're still figuring it out." "It is no flaw," Queen Zirath said softly. "Perhaps that is why you humans have surprised the galaxy so thoroughly." They emerged into the lower city as the sun rose over the alien skyline. Behind them, the palace burned. But Queen Zirath lived, protected by 2 maintenance contractors who'd refused to abandon their post. By midday, loyalist forces would rally to the Queen, the coup would fail, and the story would spread across 1,000 worlds about the human tendency to stand and fight, even when logic dictated otherwise, especially when it was the right thing to do.